morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline the 10th of February 2024. This week's headlines. There was another Stop the War march in London. Portuguese patriots in Lisbon say enough to the Islamization of Europe. Pope Francis says Antisemitism is a sin against God. Nearly 65,000 US rape victims could not get an abortion in their state. British abortion law is a medieval nightmare. The prayer ban Headteacher is fantastic, says the Education Secretary. An Orthodox Christian radio show on female deacons was swamped, it's piled on by misogynists. Following his cancer diagnosis, the Archbishop of York says the King's faith will sustain him. The NSS urges the Speaker of the House of Commons to end prayers. Here is the news in detail. Another march against the Israel-Gaza military action occurred in London. This time the marchers were very mixed, including different races, ethnicities, religions, and campaigning groups such as CND. See this video. And this video. The Portuguese patriots in Lisbon protested against Islam. See this video. Concerned by the spiral of unprecedented violence in the Holy Land, which is causing division and hostility all over the world, Pope Francis condemns anti-Semitism while making an urgent appeal for peace in a letter published last Saturday, February the 3rd. My heart is torn at the sight of what is happening in the Holy Land by the power of so much division and so much hatred, the Pope wrote to Jewish theologian Karma ben Yohanan, and addressing his Jewish brothers and sisters in Israel. Yohanan was among 400 rabbis and experts who signed an appeal in December asking the Pope to acknowledge the suffering endured by Jews and asking him to reiterate his commitment to Catholic-Jewish relations by condemning the October the 7th Hamas attack on Israel that left as many as 1,200 dead. Nearly 65,000 rape-related pregnancies likely occurred in the 14 US states which have a near-total abortion ban following the US Supreme Court's 2022 Dobbs decision. Yet just 10 legal abortions are performed monthly on average in those states. Researchers found in a new analysis published in the Journal of Internal Medicine, JAMA. The data demonstrates that abortion bans likely make it impossible for most victims of rape to obtain abortions in their home states, even for the minority of people who live in states which have exemptions to the abortion ban on grounds of rape. The study finds also that single people under 50 are having less sex since Roe v. Wade was overturned. The figures come as rape exemptions have fallen out of favour among anti-abortion activists and politicians, despite the fact that most Americans, including Republicans, believe that victims of assault should have access to abortion and that most Americans believe abortion is morally acceptable. The large number of estimated rape-related pregnancies in abortion-ban states, compared with the 10 or fewer legal abortions per month occurring in each of those states, indicates that persons who have been raped and become pregnant cannot access legal abortions in their home state, even in states with rape exceptions, researchers wrote in a research letter in the journal JAMA. British abortion law is a medieval nightmare, according to journalist Zoe Williams in The Guardian. An increasing number of women are being prosecuted for procuring abortions and face the possibility of life imprisonment. When it emerged last year that 6 women had been prosecuted in Great Britain for procuring abortions, this was more than just a blip. It was twice as many women in a single year as had been taken to court in the previous 160 years combined. Behind those cases, of course, there's an unknown number of women who were investigated but cleared, so their phones were seized, they were prevented from contact with their children, they were questioned under caution with the possibility of life imprisonment when they'd merely had a miscarriage. The Education Secretary, Gillian Keegan, described Catherine Birbal-Singh as a fantastic head teacher and backed school leaders' rights to set policies for their own schools. Speaking on LBC on Monday, she said the government is not involved in the current legal case, but the government did support Miss Birbal-Singh when she set up the Michaela Community School in 2014. Miss Birbal-Singh has said the ban on prayer rituals was brought in against a backdrop of violence, intimidation, and racial harassment of teachers last year, and it restored calm and order. But a pupil launched a High Court challenge to the ban. The judge has said he will deliver a ruling as soon as possible. Ancient Faith Radio, a media ministry aimed at Orthodox Christian listeners, broadcasts real-time shows open to listeners' comments. The topic of the January the 30th broadcast, which included a pre-recorded radio documentary, was examining the call to restore female deacons in the Orthodox Church. Deacons make up the lowest and third order of clergy in the Orthodox Church, and not every parish has them. Where they do exist, deacons primarily assist the priest with liturgical duties such as preparing the Eucharist, and are almost exclusively male. The live stream met with a torrent of misogyny. I think the term is a pile-on. "Why should I care about women trying to subvert the major orders?" said one commenter. "This is such a joke," opined another opponent, while someone else chimed in that the subject was too sensitive for their 17-year-old son, and another cited St. Paul as saying, "Women should stay silent because they talk too much and are too opinionated in church." Yet another was plainer in their bias. Deaconesses would turn the sanctuary into a brothel. Far from clarifying the question of women deacons, the episode added fuel to an already incendiary conversation about women's ordination and the role of women in the church in general. The Ancient Faith show was a response to a November symposium sponsored by the St. Phoebe Centre for the Deaconess, a 10-year-old Orthodox group advocating for the female diaconate just outside Boston. The Orthodox scholars proposed guidelines under which the ancient practice could be revived. The Church has never formally banned women from the diaconate, but with increasing emphasis on male monastic practice in the Middle Ages, the practice faded. Following the announcement that the King is being treated for cancer, the Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell, tells BBC Radio 4's World at One programme that the King's faith will sustain him through this. The Archbishop played a key role in the King's coronation. He was one of the 3 men who anointed Charles with chrism oil during the ceremony at Westminster Abbey. "From what I know of the King," he says, "he will be turning to God for strength and solace. Cancer is often harder for the family members," says the bishop, "so I hope and pray for his family that it will bring them together." The National Secular Society has urged the Speaker of the House of Commons to review the holding of prayers in the Commons chamber. In a letter to Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle, the NSS said that the current practice of conducting Anglican prayers failed to uphold the values of British society, such as equality, fairness, and respect for individual human rights and freedoms. Sittings in both the House of Commons and the House of Lords begin with Anglican prayers, and when the Commons chamber is at its busiest, parliamentary prayers act as an antiquated seat reservation system. Even MPs who are slated to speak have no option but to attend prayers in order to reserve a seat. The NSS said, "By privileging the liturgy of one denomination, of one religion above all others, Parliament signals that other faiths and beliefs are of less worth than Christianity in general and Anglicanism in particular." It argued that this risks alienating non-Anglican members, including those of other faiths or of no faith at all. As well as excluding some MPs, parliamentary prayers demonstrate a lack of respect for the plurality of belief and non-belief in the UK, the NSS said. It argued that the practice sends a message to the British public that Parliament belongs to the Church of England, rather than to them. The NSS also said The secretive nature of prayers weakens the transparency of Parliament. Members of the public are barred from the chamber and broadcasting is suspended whilst prayers are held. The House of Commons has confirmed that there is no definitive answer for the origins or rationale of holding prayers in private in this way. The NSS said it had uncovered nothing in Parliament's standing orders or elsewhere that mandates prayers, and that convention is insufficient to justify conducting any part of our democratic process in secret. Following this show, we are not having the usual interview show Free Thought Hour. Instead, we are piloting a new show, the Debunk Kings and Queens. This features a panel of people who understand evolution, explaining where various comments and posts on social media by creationists and intelligent design proponents go wrong. Take a look. I hope you'll like it. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.